one of Bristol's all-time great athletes, Albie Gurske, and Bob Montgomery will accept. Bob.
We communicated with him. He was failing, and we knew we'd never see him again. And when we left him, we felt glad that we were able to say goodbye to Albie. He was just a great man. And it's something I'll never forget. If Albie was here today, he'd probably want me to be up here instead of him. He was a very unassuming, quiet gentleman who didn't like to brag or take credit for all his accomplishments and all his endeavors. So I'm proud to be here on behalf of the Gurske family. I first became aware of Albie Gurske in the mid-1950s as a 10-year-old going to Stafford School. I'd walk up Louisiana Avenue with guys like Tom Chope, Rit Gurske, who was a speed merchant himself, who was Albie's nephew. Rit was a year behind us, but I had heard the name Gurske from time to time, Halo and such, and approached Rit one day and asked him and found out that that was his uncle, and he would talk about his uncle. So my interest in Bristol sports history goes way, way back. Through the years, I've done a couple articles on Albie, and got to know him. I went over his house a few times, made phone calls, and got to become a friend. The first couple times I went over there, he knew what I was up to, and he really didn't want to talk about himself, but eventually he did open up. And it got to the point where we became pretty good friends, and each time I went over there, it wasn't just to interview him, it was as a friend. Again, going back to his yearbook, which I looked up right after he died, he was very well liked by his teachers, his teammates and all. He was just a quiet young man and gentleman, something he carried through his lifetime. And those of you who have dealt with him through the years understand that. For all his accomplishments, all his talents, inside and outside of sports, he was an exceptional human being. He worked for Alex Karras. He worked up to age 76 down in Forestville with Alex Karras and kept contact with the Bristol people. He had married in the 40s and moved to Kensington, so his last 50 years he's been out of town, but he always remained in contact. There was an article written in 1976 by Lou Bachman in his downtown column that has a nice picture of Albie, and in it, something like this, shirt and tie, and it's something I'll always remember, and I go back and look at it from time to time. Lou Bachman was a classmate of his at Fordham University, and those were great days for the Bristol boys that were there, Andy Palo and all. And amongst his teammates was the great Vince Lombardi, the late Green Bay Packer coach. Albie had played alongside with him and held his own. I had the opportunity last week to be interviewed by the 4th grade class at the Lutheran school in town. And the first thing that came to mind when they asked me, I was thinking of Andy Palo and Albie Gurske. And I said, geez, I hope they ask me about both of them. Before I went to the class, I was met by the teacher and the principal. And they had asked me a little bit about the history of the school because they were celebrating their 100th anniversary. I said, well, you know, you have probably two of the greatest athletes of all time went to Emmanuel Luther and graduated in 1929. And I went on to tell them the history of the two fellows. And it's remarkable because Albie and Andy both graduating grammar school, high school, and college together, and playing sports together, and being outstanding like they have been. And then continuing their adult life to become two great gentlemen. I miss Albie, and I know a lot of you do. For those of you who had contact with him, he was just a great human being, great man. He loved sports, but he didn't live off his laurels. he lived off the love and friendship of his friends, and he had very many. I went to his funeral, which was almost 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and most of the people were the Kensington area family, because this is where he had lived all his time. He had a great many friends. He was involved in Historical Society, helped start it up and did things like that. He built his own house. Very talented man. But as far as sports go, in my opinion, at Bristol High, I think he was probably the best. You know, we'll all debate that, but I would say as far as Bristol High goes, Albie is number one. Albie's son Gary is here tonight. Gary, I want to present a plaque to you on behalf of the Bristol Sports Hall of Fame. Your father was tremendous, and I'm sure you're very proud of him. And also next to him is his nephew Andy. So on behalf of the Bristol Sports Hall of Fame, I want to present this plaque to Gary, Gary Gurske.